Good, let's just start it.
Yeah.
Get this party going.
Hi, this is Brian. Welcome back to Philosopher's Notes TV. Today, another great book, Take the Stairs. Take the Stairs by Rory Vaden, subtitle, 7 Steps to Achieving True Success. It's a great book. Philosopher's Note, bunch of big ideas. Let's look at 5 of my favorite ones now. So, first big idea here is the pain paradox. The pain paradox. Basic idea here is that doing the easy things now makes it hard over the long run, and paradoxically, doing the hard things now make it easier for us over the long run. It's pretty straightforward, but if you're avoiding all of the little challenges in your life and you're taking what feels easier and what is easier right now, you're setting yourself up for a lot of hardship in the future. But if you're willing to exert some more discipline, lean into your challenges now, you're going to create a lot more ease in your future. And that hard stuff doesn't last as long as you might think. You build a certain level of strength and things get easier when you lean into them. He tells a great story about cows versus buffaloes. Rory grew up in Colorado on the plains, and apparently when a storm would come in, cows would respond very differently than buffalo. So let's say a storm is coming in and the cows are right here and they see it coming. They're like, oh no. Then it starts raining on them and the cows try to run away from the rain. How's that work out for them? Well, the rain follows them. They can't outrun it, so they stay under the rain for a long time, right? Because they're trying to run away from their problems, if you will, to use the metaphor. Now, the buffalo, on the other hand, see the same storm coming, and they say, interesting, we're going to wait until this goes over the peak, the crest of a peak of a mountain, and then we're going to charge at it. We're going to go head straight at the storm. So the storm's approaching, and then they charge right at it and run through it. The storm passes, and they spend a lot less time underneath that rain than the cows who tried to avoid the challenge. They ran straight at it. It's a great idea. Pain paradox. Bring it on, the tools guys say. Quit avoiding things and lean into it, and you'll surprise yourself by the power you have. In the note, I share a story about Paul Bunyan. In his Pilgrim's Progress, he has a character who has a shield that makes him invincible. Only caveat is, the shield will make him invincible provided he heads straight at his challenges. If he runs away and goes the other way, he's vulnerable. But if he heads straight at his challenges, he's invincible. So think of that pain paradox. That's our first big idea. Second one is pretty fun. Are you a should head? A should head. You don't want to be a should head. Rory has in his 7 strategies, the first one was the pain paradox. Second one is commitment. Commitment. And he says, look, you can either be really committed, 100%, or less than 100% committed. Now, if you're 100% committed, you're all in, you're going to do it. If you're less than 100% committed, you're asking yourself way too often, should I do this? So if you're meditating, or you are committed to exercising, or whatever it is, but you're not quite 100% committed, you are a should head. You're asking yourself constantly, should I meditate today, or should today be the day off? Should I post my blog like I said I would, or should today be the day that I take off? Should I? You are a should head, right? But if you're in this domain, you're not asking should, you're asking how. How do I get my meditation done today? I have a busy day, how am I going to get it done? Not should I get it done, how do I get it done? It's a huge distinction. We want to quit being should heads. That's our second big idea. And he talks too about 211 degrees versus 212 degrees. You'll remember when we did the Orison Swett Marden episodes, we talked about what he calls activation energy. There's a huge difference between 211 degrees and 212 degrees. At 212 degrees, water boils. You can do stuff with boiling water. Steam can power locomotives and boats. It's amazing. 211 degrees, although hot, in fact, very hot, it's not the same as 212 degrees. That 1 degree makes a huge difference. That 1 degree is what gives us true commitment. There's a huge difference between 90% committed, 92% committed, 99% committed, and 100% committed. We want to go to that last percent. Non-negotiable. Makes your life, again, paradoxically, much easier. Third big idea, focus is power. Focus is power. When I journal, I often draw this, which represents to me all of the things I could do in focusing on this particular outcome, that particular task or set of things that I'm going to do. And Rory talks about a magnifying glass. I like to draw in my journal a little magnifying glass, right? Here's the sun. And there's a focus point that comes that you can burn a piece of paper. Now you can set that piece of paper on the asphalt on the street on a really hot day and nothing will happen because the sun's rays are diffused. But if you come in between the sun and that piece of paper and you hold a magnifying glass precisely, you can't just hold it, you've got to actually focus the sun's rays, you can burn that piece of paper. It's the same thing with everything in our lives. We need to focus our thoughts, we need to focus our energy on what's important to us. Quit distracting ourselves, quit diffusing our energy, and focus. There's tremendous power in focus. We're going to talk about that some more. Rory's second book, which I read the day after I read this book, is called Procrastinate on Purpose. In that one, he actually has what he calls a focus funnel, where you take all of the things you could be focusing on and you figure out what you want to concentrate on. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But for now, remember, focus is power. If you're distracting yourself, how can you focus? Get on that, create your power. Fourth big idea here is Mr. M. Mr. M. What's the M for? Mediocrity. Mediocrity. Mr. M is a voice in your head that's committed to slowing down your momentum. You may have noticed you're constantly chit-chatting with yourself. There's a more positive version of you, and then there's the less positive version of you. Rory says that Mr. M is tiny. He's almost invisible, but he has a huge mouth. And he goes on and on and on and on and on. Mr. Mediocrity is constantly telling you all the things that you can't do and all the shortcomings you have that are limiting your potential. Rory says unequivocally, we need to silence Mr. M. And the way he advocates doing that is by talking over him with positive self-talk. You can't hold two thoughts in your mind simultaneously. So if you have a negative one coming to the megaphone with Mr. Mediocrity, cancel it out by thinking positive thoughts. And he says it may feel stupid when you start doing it. It might always feel stupid, but do it anyway. Successful people who get control of their mind do these things consistently. So think of notice when you have that negative thought, and then have your array of positive thoughts you can insert. So if you're thinking, God, why did I do that? Or I did that again, I didn't want to do that. You're such an idiot, you're never going to get this. Whatever your negative banter is, notice it, stop it, and say, I've got this, we're good. I'm learning, needs work. I'm going to do it this way next time, we're good. And be strong in your mind rather than letting Mr. M take over the airwaves. Big idea. Fifth big idea is another good one, visioneering. Visioneering, 2 words, vision plus engineering. Vision, engineering, visioneering, right? These are the 2 components. It's not particularly complicated. If you want to create a great life, you need to have a clear vision. Some people call it a purpose, a mission, whatever. We're going to call it visioneering here right now. You have an amazing vision that inspires you, and you've taken the time to do the engineering work to imagine what you have to do consistently to make this vision a reality. Who are you going to be? What fundamentals are you going to integrate into your life? Exercise, nutrition, proper rest, training your mind. What systems are you going to build so you can consistently show up and have masterpiece days? Vision, engineering, put the 2 together, you've got visioneering, and you've got a recipe, a map for creating your optimal life. Do that. Silence Mr. M when he inevitably comes on the airwaves. Remember, focus is power, that magnifying glass. If you've never done the experiment with a magnifying glass, I highly encourage you to go to Amazon, find a cheap magnifying glass, or wherever you go to find a magnifying glass, and try it safely, because you can and will burn things when you figure it out. We need to bring that attention to our lives. It's super powerful. Quit being a should head. If your commitment is over here, you are asking, should I? Oh, I don't know, should I? Quit asking that. Ask, how do I? For the commitments that you've gone all in on. Non-negotiable, 100%. You can't do that with every single commitment in your life. Every commitment you want to make, you should do it with every commitment. If you're going to make a commitment to someone or something, be all in, be done. It's just, you say you're going to do something, and that is the equation. Done. But don't commit unless you are done. When you do, it's not a should I, it's a how do I follow through on that commitment and not be a should head. And then the pain paradox. Remember, your cows and buffalo. Head straight at your challenges, and paradoxically, your life's going to be a lot easier. What was your favorite big idea? How are you going to move from theory to practice? Get on that and have another awesome day. And people are telling me I should say more about what you can get as part of our membership, but we've got a link somewhere in around here. Click on that. You can join and get access to 250 Philosopher's Notes, 6-page PDFs, 20-minute MP3s, a bunch of micro classes. I create a ton of content that I don't share on YouTube. I obviously share a ton here. We have a lot more. The response has been awesome. I appreciate all of you for your support, and I look forward to sharing more soon. Have an awesome day. See you.
Awesome. I know some of you guys came in a few minutes late, but Rory Vaden, the person that wrote the book that he's talking about, was actually at Mega Camp. I think it was Mega Camp this last year, and it was the CEO Summit, and they had a bunch of CEOs out there, and Rory was one of them. And it was an amazing talk. He had a lot of really cool things to talk about. He talked about the second book that I'll probably do on Monday, which is Procrastinate on Purpose. But there's a lot of things that I like, and I realized that Keller Williams got something from Rory Vaden, which is when he's talking about the pain paradox and the buffalo who charges the storm. We have a whole thing of t-shirts that say charge the storm, and there's a buffalo on it, and it's because of that. It's a really good idea. And if you look at everything he talked about and what we're going to talk about, a lot of what he's talking about is just mindset. It's just how you think about things and how you should handle things differently than the way you are naturally disposed to handling certain things, like the pain paradox, the first one he talked about. And if you guys have thoughts or anything here in the room, or just raise your hand online and we can talk about that. But the one thing I'm trying, and this is one thing I'm trying to teach my kids, is that at some point in life, everything that you ever did was hard. And all you really have to do is try to figure out how to do the hard things better. Get good at doing the hard things. Like when you were a baby and you couldn't walk, like walking was hard. And there was no point in time where you're like, walking's just not for me. Like the baby tried to walk like 10 times. It's not going to work. We're not going to that walking's not for the baby. So we're just going to push him around for the rest of his life. That never happens. Walking was really hard. At the time, it was the hardest thing that baby could ever possibly think of trying to do, but yet it happened. And then as you grow older, you find that there's things that become super, super hard that you can't do. And you have to figure out how to overcome whatever that is. So like right now, a lot of agents are trying to get their first deal or get their next deal. And it's really, really hard. And so what you need to do is figure out how are you going to do hard better? And how do you get comfortable doing hard things and realizing that it's a challenge and you have to challenge yourself? Because, and I'm going to say this with something else in here, your mind and everything that is about you, because we have this thing called a monkey mind, and it wants to protect you and it wants to keep you safe and it wants to push you away from doing hard things. But you grow by doing hard things. Like you grow muscles by lifting heavy weight and putting your muscle in pain. And so you just have to start getting more comfortable with doing hard things. And when you push up against something that's hard that you know you have to do, that's when you have to put your head down, close your eyes, kneel down and put your shoulder into it and figure out how to make it work. And I think this is an important part. Realize that you may have to do it more than once, that you may fail multiple times. You may fail, it may not work, but every time you fail, like you're going to learn how to do it better. And I'm sure we could probably think of things in our lives that we've done that we've had to do it better. Number two, the should have thing. It's a weird way that he said that. So what should you be doing in your business? Most people, we should be calling people more. We should be having more conversations. That's like the super basic low level. How do you do it? Like if there's something you don't know how to do, I'm going to give you a really easy hack. And if you guys have something that you're not sure how to do, let me know what it is and I can see if this hack works for you. But the hack is go to YouTube and search YouTube for how to do whatever, like how to call expired listings. If you go to YouTube and you type in how to call expired listings, you will find a whole bunch of videos of agents that are calling people and recording it and putting it on YouTube. And some of them are really good. But what it'll do is it'll show you what their experiences are, which you can kind of estimate, this is what my experiences will be. How do you do circle prospecting? How do you do blah, blah, blah? I joke around that, when I was younger, at my age, when I was younger, you had a mom and a dad. And if you wanted to know something, you would go to your mom and ask your mom, hey, how do I do this? If you wanted to be shown how to do something, you'd go to your dad and your dad would show you how to do it. Like you'd have those two things. Today, in today's world, you don't have a mom and a dad that operate like that. You have Google and YouTube. Like Google is your mom and YouTube is your dad, because my kids don't come to ask me for much anymore. They just go to the internet and they ask the internet. And that's how they learn a bunch of stuff. And not all of it's good, by the way. Right? Not all of it's good. So like your mom and your dad are Google and YouTube. And so if you guys need to know how to do something, just go there and ask, hey, how does blah, blah, blah. There is so much information. The statistics on how much information is out there online is insane. There's more information than any of us could ever consume in the rest of our lifetimes. Number three, focus is power, is intentionality. Focus is really, really everything. And if you read the book, The One Thing, they talk about how, what's the one thing that you can do that by which will make everything else unnecessary and unneeded. It comes back to focus and doing that one thing, because they talk about in that book, multitasking. And how multitasking is a myth, because then you're just going to do a whole bunch of things not very good. Like you'll be able to do a bunch of things at one time, but you're not going to be able to do them as good as if you focused on one thing by itself. So I like to bring this back to real estate, because when we as agents get into the business, it becomes very easy for us to want to do like 2 or 3 or 4 different things, because we're getting into a scarcity mindset that we want to get a lot of business, we want to get business fast. And we think that, well, if I cold call and I call my sphere of influence and I door knock and I call expireds, and if I do all of that every day, I'm going to get business faster. I do not believe that is true. And I have a whole bunch of agents that are not in the business anymore to prove my point. If you focus on one thing and if you want it faster, I will tell you your sphere of influence is the way to go. And you have to just focus and double down, triple down on calling and doing one thing. If you want it to be door knocking, that's great. Go door knocking, go all the way in. The difference is if you go all in on one thing, like circle prospecting or door knocking, you're dealing with a bunch of people that don't know who you are, have no clue who you are, and you have to develop the big 3, which is know, like, and trust. You're going to literally pick somebody, they don't know you. If they don't know you, they don't like you. And if they don't know you and like you, then they can't trust you. So you literally have to start at the ground floor with those 3 things, to where if you're starting with your sphere of influence, you may get people that know you. They may not like you, but they may trust you. I found that with sphere of influence. People cannot like you and still trust you. It's the weirdest thing ever, but it is possible. And that happens with your SOI for the most part. Mediocrity. That's an interesting one. I get frustrated with mediocrity, and I think the world is based a lot on the mediocrity aspect of what he's talking about. And there was a quote from the guy who built Apple, and he said that, like, you have to realize that everything around you was built by people that are no smarter than you. And we tend to think that people do certain things, that they're way smarter, that they're way better, that they're way. We all have this, we all have a brain that operates the same way. And how can you access the things that these people do? I love listening to interviews of successful people because all it does is remind me that they're no better than I am. And that's what all the agents in this office and that are watching this should take away, that everybody out there that's massively successful, there's really no difference between you guys. Some of them got lucky, some of them just worked hard. But mediocrity is something that's a real thing that's out there that's holding a lot of people back. But when he's talking about the positive thoughts, I cannot agree more. I try to constantly have positivity flowing in my mind and listening to it and everything. I wake up in the morning, I have a these positive video things that I listen to in the morning while I'm getting ready. And then on the way to work, I have these books and these podcasts and certain things that I listen to. And then I'm constantly pumping positivity into my mind, because the number one person who talks to you is yourself. And you have to realize that sometimes you're not saying the nicest things to yourself, because the outside world will get in there. And I was just talking to Joey, our OP, and he was telling me about all the chaos that's going on with all these other people in the world. And it's just like a lot of negativity. And you can't stop all of that. Like, there's always going to be negativity, but what you can do is circumvent it by patting on positivity on top of it. And so there's tons of ways. And so I send you back to YouTube. Like, go back to YouTube if you want positive affirmations, if you want something positive in your life and to help you out. YouTube is an amazing source because it'll give you the audio and it'll give you the visual of things that are positive. And sometimes we just need that to get through the day. What should you do? He was talking about showing up in real estate, and he was talking about showing up and giving 100% in everything you do. I think that you don't need to give me 100% in everything you do, but you need to show up 100% of the time. Show up 100% of the time and give me everything that you can give me. If you're having a bad day, if you're struggling and you're just not mentally where you need to be, that's fine. Just show up, give me what you can give me. If I want you to call 25 people, call 5. And if you're done for that day, that's great, but then just show up the next day and show up the next day. Give me 100% of showing up for yourself, and I can guarantee you, you're going to get to where you need to go. Your vision is a reality. The last part that he was talking about, visioneering. I think that's a term that Disney uses. Or imaginary. Yeah, close. But I believe that you should have a vision for what your life should be. Like, what do you want in your life? If you're not looking forward, what are you looking at? If you're only looking at today and just today, I believe that it's very easy to get into a negative mindset, because you're going to think about where you could be rather than how you're going to get there. And having a vision of where you want to be, I believe you should have a really large vision and work on that every day. So the way I look at that is that I write down my goals every day. So I have small goals that I need to accomplish within the short term, within, days or months or whatever. And then I have big goals that I want. And they're always changing, because everything in my life and certain things in my life change. And so the goals are changing constantly, but I write them down in the morning and I write them down at night. And that's my vision of the things that I want. I have a vision for the office. I have a vision for my business. I have a vision for my relationship. I have a vision for my kids. I have all of these different visions. And you should have a vision of what you want your life to look like. And you should never say, I can't do that, or I'm not going to accomplish that, or I should never say negative talk like that. If you want a private jet that you get to fly off anywhere in the world whenever you want to, it's possible, 100% possible. Other people have done it. Anybody else has done it, you can do it. Write that down in your vision and then work your way backwards on what do you need to do today to get to the vision of that happening. So whatever your vision is, you should always think about your vision. Thoughts, questions, concerns. What you guys think?
That was good.
Anything good?
It's all
Good.
about,
Yeah, the toughest.
Yeah.
it's all about being focused.
Focus. Focus is key. Focus is really important. How about everybody on Zoom? How's everybody on Zoom doing? Got a bunch of people on here. I like it. So I would absolutely recommend getting Rory Vaden's book. Listen to it on audiobook. Somebody gave me a hack that I haven't tried yet. I don't know if I like the idea, but I'm gonna think about it, is that if you get an audiobook and you listen to it on 1.5 or 2 times speed, it is called, Take the Stairs
Oh, yeah.
by Rory Vaden. He's a brand manager that has helped major people, with their brands. And he's a really great speaker, and I would definitely, his books are on my list to read. I'm reading like 4 books right now, so I haven't gotten to his yet, but I would definitely recommend that, and get it on audiobook, listen to it at 2 times the speed, and see if that, it might be like the chipmunks reading to you, which might be kind of cool. Let me just, we're gonna wrap this up and get the last video to play. Sandy. Let me see if I can do it. Let me get Sandy back in here. Sandy, can you play the last video for me really quick? I was gonna try to play with it and try to figure it out, but
It's all good.
I was gonna probably break it. All right, guys, have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Life is a war. And there are people out there and there are things out there that are trying to take you down. Things are going to go wrong. And when things go wrong, it's pretty easy just to say, you know what, I'm going to stand down or I'm going to give up. And you can do that. But I think no. I think keep fighting. And you keep fighting and you keep fighting and you keep fighting no matter what. And you never quit. You never quit. And if you feel like your life is in a place where you can't get any lower, and you don't think you can find any way out, good. Because that means the ultimate challenge is ahead of you. It means you can only go up. And it also means that things are gonna be tough. Things are gonna be tougher than anything you can imagine, but that storm that you're in, from your perspective, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. But I'm telling you, it is not. The storm that you're in, it is hard to see out of that storm. It's hard to see past it. It seems like the storm is everything. But the storm is not everything. And it won't last forever. You can get out of the storm, and you will get out of the storm. And when you get out, you're gonna see the sun again. But right now, you're being tried. You're being forged. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test. Don't fail the test. Don't give in. Don't quit. Don't ever quit. Fight on. Fight through the storm. Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger. and tougher and better. A fighter, a survivor, a winner, victorious, and free from that storm, free from the darkness, free. Life can be hard, but you know what? It's the one life you've got. So go and live a life that in the end allows you to look back and say, hell yes, I do it all again.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Thank you.